We're talking, of course, about the shooting of a 26-year-old man in Maine by ICE officers this week, and it sparked this national discourse and debate over ICE and everything. And I did notice that you were very quick to the story on Twitter. You posted after the news broke, "Adios" about the man who'd been shot, and you also said "so?" question mark to somebody who'd posted that ICE had killed yet another person. So I guess my first question is like, I mean, he was shot reportedly in the car with his 3-year-old daughter. Does this stuff, even if you support the immigration enforcement and crackdown, I mean, is it not a tragedy, right? Is it not like really sad and moving stuff regardless?
Well, I think he should have made better choices. I think that if I was
Brad is gay, like that's his identity or whatever. So he's going to be a little bit more compassionate than regular people, I guess. But yeah, every death's a tragedy. Yes, we mourn them all, but it happens every day, so it kind of just gets numb. Like, yeah, you fight the police, sometimes you die. That's just reality.
was in the car with my child and I tried to run over a cop, I'd probably catch some lead too.
Yeah.
You know, Brad, I think it's reasonable for people to have a limited bandwidth of sincere caring. Now, there are a lot of people out there who will tell you they care about everything. That's not so. I have, I like all human beings, I have a limited bandwidth of sincere caring. I mean, I guess I could pose and say that, everybody who does something stupid and dangerous and then suffers reasonably foreseeable consequences for it deserves some sympathy. But, there are people out there who didn't create problems for themselves, who didn't do things that are so manifestly stupid and irresponsible that when they suffer the consequences, I just, okay, what do you expect? What do you expect? If you jump off a bridge, you're going to fall. If you hit your head on the with a hammer, it's going to hurt. If you try and run over a cop, he's going to shoot you.
Wait, so why are you saying he tried to run over in this case, a ICE official? Why are you saying that?
Well, look, I for a couple reasons. First, ICE has said that he tried to run over them, essentially, that he threatened them with a vehicle.
Where
And
did they say that?
I'm using shorthand here. They have we have not seen their final report. We have seen that this guy was driving around. He did use his vehicle in a dangerous manner. And the other thing is, why would they shoot him otherwise? I mean, do you think that these are like death squads that go out and randomly shoot people?
Well,
do you think that they somehow
no, I don't
pleasure in it?
But I do have, so I'm just going off the DHS statement that I'll read here, and I'll bring, because in past statements they've said the suspect weaponized his vehicle and tried to run over officers, which obviously, in my view, if you try to run over an officer, you might get shot. Sure. They didn't say that in this statement. I'll read it here. On July 13th, 2026, at approximately 7 a.m. Eastern, ICE was conducting targeted surveillance on the last known address of an illegal alien with a final order of removal. An illegal alien departed the residence in a vehicle. ICE attempted to conduct a vehicle stop. The vehicle attempted to flee the scene, and fearing for public safety, an officer discharged his weapon. So that's ICE's official statement about what happened. We can discuss that a little bit more, but Stephen, I want to bring you in here. I mean, give us your reaction to Kurt's perspective.
I don't, I'm not entirely sure how serious that perspective was.
Let me just say, if that's all we know so far, it's a little premature to be making judgments about who was right and who was wrong. I don't know why they do it this way, just for the clicks, I guess. But in reality, you should wait till more information than just that little statement comes out. That's not enough to determine what all happened. He could have been running with an Uzi. Who knows what he was doing? He could have had a knife, a machete. Who knows? Till we know more information, it's silly to be even talking about. But they have to for the video, I guess.
First of all, if you read that tweet very carefully, when you read it the first time, it almost sounds like they're saying that the car that they shot at was completely and totally uninvolved. Like it's a different car than the one they thought a guy left a building and got in and sped away in. And when you read the follow-up news reports, my understanding is, unless something has come out since literally I went to sleep and woke up.
So you're being outraged over news reports? Why would you even watch the news? They're full of shit. You could get a different outlook if you just change the channel. They'll give you a different version of what happened. Like reality changes when you change your clicker. So why get outraged? Just change it from CNN to Fox News and see how great it was. That's the reality we live in now. You just fucking you pick the worldview you want to look at, and you just go in that direction. So
I don't think there's any indication that this guy was involved in any immigration related thing at all. The guy got shot and killed in a car. Apparently, the person they shot and killed was a totally different person than even the suspect they had for this immigration enforcement thing.
Right. So maybe we shouldn't talk about it till we have a little more information, don't you think? That'd be the wise thing to do. Going out and making like, I think this guy's innocent when you don't even know what fucking happened is just goofy to me.
So I don't know how we can say that they tried to weaponize his car and run over anybody. I don't even think the DHS stated that in their tweet about it. Again, unless another statement has come out or something. But I mean, conservatives being pro-feds being deployed to states to kill U.S. citizens is not a new thing, and I guess it's not surprising at this point.
Well, this guy wasn't a U.S. citizen, but
what?
Nor was he deployed to. Nor were they deployed to kill U.S. citizens.
He might just have been a resident with a social security number. I'm sorry, my bad. You a green
but
card
no,
holder.
no. You don't. Well, you can have a green card and get a social security number. You can be an illegal alien and have a social security number.
No.
Yes. Are you telling me there are 0 illegal aliens with social security numbers?
Using one illegally, maybe, but having one assigned to you,
answer. Well,
you don't get it. You can't. How do you get it?
We know?
They said,
So you acknowledge that they do have them, right? Illegally, but they do have them, right?
We know it was assigned. I mean, if we're going to do what I did for 30 years as a lawyer,
number, but it was a stolen one. What do you think? He had like 9 digits written on a piece of paper in his pocket?
Are you saying that illegal aliens don't steal social security numbers? Because
I'm saying that when somebody says you have a social security number, the implication there is that it was legally assigned to you by the Social Security Administration. Is that I've never heard that said otherwise.
It may be is getting a social security number the same thing as being legalized?
I don't know, Stephen. What's your thought on the idea that they're probably going out there with good intentions and they just deserve the benefit of the doubt?
There are reasons why we give certain people the benefit of the doubt. One of those reasons is because we usually believe that there's some form of accountability. The problem is that the current administration has not only shown itself as lawless with the way that they operate their own Department of Justice, or the way that they target political opponents. We can also see that they're somewhat lawless when it comes to accountability for their own agents. We saw that in Minnesota when they whisked away their 2 federal agents after 2 American citizens were killed, and they basically refused to cooperate with state officials when it came time to doing the actual investigations on the shootings. So the idea that an average American would have any level of trust in ICE is probably completely, gone at this point, and I think deservedly so.
Because he doesn't want them getting rid of the illegals, because it helps the voting demographics. That's why. That's why he's saying this. Everyone should have faith in ICE. ICE has killed 3 people now, and that's throughout the whole country. Think of how many illegal immigrants here, and they've only had to kill 3. Like, that's not that bad. Like, these are some bad hombres, as Trump would say. So, yeah, some of them are in cartels and shit like that. They may have to shoot some of these people, and they've only shot 3. And they weren't even with the cartels. Some of them were just people trying to kill them to stop them, to keep the cartel people here. That's how crazy the left has gotten.
Well, look, the Department of Justice has been a disaster through the Obama and Biden years. It was weaponized against conservative Americans ruthlessly. Now people are being held accountable for it. Now, you can label holding bad actors accountable as weaponization if you want to, but it's not. The Trump administration, in fact, is obeying ridiculous judicial decisions. I mean, the crazy, and they're crazy because about 95% of them seem to be upheld at the appellate and Supreme Court level. So that whole notion that Trump's DOJ is lawless is just silly. As for what happened in Minnesota, yes, I definitely would get those guys out of there. So more of so that the leftists don't have a chance to murder them, as they've murdered a number of people in the past. Frankly, from the video I saw, the police were perfectly in line with using deadly force in both the Preddy and the other lady's incidents. Now,
Renee
people
Good.
can
You're talking about Renee Good.
People can disagree with that, but the idea that these were somehow unequivocal, absolute clear cases of murder is ridiculous. In both cases, you had people for no good reason interacting in a extremely dangerous manner with law enforcement. I mean, what kind? Look, when I'm in a free state as opposed to California, I'm carrying a gun all the time, and I am the nicest guy on earth. If I see trouble, I'm heading in the other direction. Why? Because I've got a gun on me, and that brings a level of trouble when you're a civilian.
But Alex Preddy having a gun on him.
Do you feel the same way? Wait. Do you feel the same way about Rittenhouse? Was the jury wrong in that case?
No, Rittenhouse should have got a medal.
So you can show up with a gun, I guess. Sometimes it just depends on the circumstances.
Yes,
Rittenhouse ran away from the people trying to fight him, just like this guy said. He retreated until he couldn't retreat anymore, and they caught him. Then he shot him. What else? Did that guy, the guy they're talking about, did he retreat from the scene, or did he try and stay and fight with the cops with a gun on him? Isn't that a big difference here? I can show you the Rittenhouse footage. He's running the entire time away from the trouble with a gun. He's running with a gun, just like this guy said he would do. So how is that an example for destiny?
You just don't go and attack cops when you have a gun.
Oh, but you can attack citizens
if you want to shoot
with a firearm.
Did he attack, or did he run from the attack over and over and over again? Which happened, Destiny? You were on Rittenhouse's side too. I remember that because I actually started trying to watch you whenever you were being sensible about Rittenhouse. And then 2 minutes later, you're back to the lefty bullshit.
If you want to shoot pedophiles
hang on,
and
Kurt,
scumbags,
are you saying that Alex Preddy
that's good
attacked cops? Because I did not see that on any of the videos.
No,
he
I
was
did.
shooting.
I did. He got in the middle of a fight with
I
them
saw them
while
shoving
carrying
a woman
weapon.
to the ground, and he stepped in between, but I didn't see him hit or attack
you're saying
a cop.
So he got into a fight. This issues like if a cop has to push a woman to the ground who's acting like a man, well then tough shit. Don't act like a man, bitch. Get out of our fucking scene. You can't be in our scene and not get pushed because you're a lady. Fuck you.
So what you're saying is he got involved with the cops.
So if you get
We're in a
involved with an
physical
officer and you have a gun on you,
die.
Death sentence.
Yep.
Look, I understand that people can panic in a high stress situation. Okay. So do Americans when they get pulled over by cops. See, we seem to have a different standard here. If an American citizen commits a crime, like being an illegal alien is that you've committed a crime, nobody seems to care if the police, pull them over and arrest them. And yet we're supposed to care about foreigners.
Well,
I care more about Americans.
The flip side.
That's a very fair point. That's my exact stance on this. You're here illegally. Whatever we got to do to get you out. It's just a shame that we can't have a president who just enforces the laws already on the books and starts going after the employers. If you go after the employers, now they have no jobs. They have no reason to be here, and they'll leave on their own. They'll take that $1,000 and go the fuck home. So why not just do that and save these people's lives? Oh, because you have campaign contributions and those big donors don't want you getting rid of their illegal immigrants. They're slave labor. So we got to keep them here and not enforce the law, which sounds criminal to me.
It is also that if a officer did try to pull over an American and then that American was driving away and they shot them, that officer would probably be charged with murder, and that wouldn't be so controversial.
Well, look, in your factual scenario where
it's based on DHS's statement.
Well, look, on the statement, like I don't believe that the statement includes all the necessary facts. Like I said, it is possible for a nice guy to have either committed a crime or been grossly negligent. That's certainly possible. People are negligent all the time. Hey, I support the troops. Yet when I was an officer, I was constantly cleaning up over people who made messes. People do things wrong. So that is entirely possible. And I believe that they should be held to a high standard because they are representing the United States of America and they're carrying weapons, and that's a grave responsibility. What I object to is the presumption that these guys are Nazis, fascists, Gestapo. They're out there murdering people, that they're untrained. They don't know what they're doing. They don't care. In fact, these are heroes protecting our community from degenerates, perverts, losers, creeps, weirdos, gangbangers, drug criminals, and a variety of others, as well as quote unquote regular illegal aliens who also need to be deported.
Deporting millions of people.
Not if their claim is 40.
My question
if they
is going.
claim that 40 came in and 2 left.
Right.
That,
obviously,
40,
I don't believe that 40
38,
came in.
That's fine. Sure. But what am I supposed to believe then for the numbers they give? They failed in every conceivable way.
So,
almost
Kurt,
as badly
I will
as
come to you in
Ghost
1
did.
second, but I want to home in on this. Is it possible, though, to deport several million people without having, which I think is a legitimate thing an administration can do under federal law, without having officers interact with lots of people, and things will go wrong and people will get killed. Isn't that not kind of an inevitable consequence of even attempting deportations at scale, Stephen?
If you're being honest, then any increase in law enforcement is also going to cause an increase in adverse events, I guess we can call them. But the issue is that we're not seeing like these regrettable adverse events where it's like, man, like the guy was a threat and then he, started fleeing from the cops and, they had to take a rough shoot and there was background fire. So like, we're not seeing those types of incidents though. We're seeing the guy that shot and killed Renee Good, who had his phone out recording, who was like the fucking bitch after her car rolls away and she's executed. We saw this dude. I don't know if his family was still in the car. I pray to God they weren't. With this guy, the guy who just got.
I invite y'all all to go watch the videos of what actually happened and not go by this fucking tweaker's fucking recollection of what he saw, because he fucking sees things through a lens that no one should ever look through.
Killed the Colombian guy. They dragged him out of the car. You see the lifeless body flop onto the ground once he's on the ground.
It's Blake.
Yeah, and then they're handcuffing the dude. It's just we call these unforced errors in the business. Okay, it's not like ISIS ran out of people to do enforcement action against. It comes off as pretty Gestapo to me, but I don't know. That's just me as an American citizen watching feds killing U.S. citizens with absolute impunity. So
U.S. citizens who are trying to impede them from doing their job, which is law enforcement. Yes, that's what happens when you try and impede federal law enforcement. You sometimes get shot. Don't do that. Is that not a lesson we could all learn? Or do we all just have to treat everyone like they're a woman so they have no repercussions for their actions? You go to fucking stop a cop from doing his federally mandated job to do, you might get shot. Lesson learned, huh?
Well,
learn
look,
it twice.
Everything you've said is ridiculous. Adults can distinguish between distinguishable things, and they're readily distinguishable things. And I'll just take your last thing. These are just like the Nazis. These are nothing like the Nazis in any meaningful sense. The fact that people have uniforms and carry guns does not make them Nazis simply because the Gestapo carried guns and occasionally wore uniforms. That's just silly and ridiculous, and that's one of the problems here. Look, we have a right as Americans to determine who gets to come here. We have a right to make laws, to regulate it. We have a right to enforce those laws. And here's the problem. Law enforcement is always ugly, because at the end of the day, law enforcement is guys with guns making nonconformists conform. And we all remember that poor guy in Long Island, I believe, who was buying loose cigarettes, which for some reason they decided to make illegal. But they made it illegal, so the cops had to interact with him, and the dude ended up dead, because a certain percentage of people who interact with the cops are going to end up dead simply because statistics happen. Here's the problem. We've got millions and millions of illegal aliens here. They have to go, all of them. And some of them are going to resist, and it's not going to be pretty. And I guess you can, I guess you can play the violin. I guess you can be sad about.
Almost like my solution was better, right? Because then they just want to leave because they got no fucking money. So they'll take that $1,000 and go back to their country. Doesn't my way solve it a lot better than this? So we didn't have to do all this, and you wouldn't have those 3 dead Americans or whatever that other last guy was.
About it, but in the end of the day, I want them gone. And the Americans who elected Donald Trump, who won the election, want them gone. So we've got a right to make them gone. Albeit in conformance with the Constitution, absolutely. Again, I deployed twice to defend it, and I'm still sworn to defend it. My commission has not expired.
So I wonder though, like, you acknowledge that all of them gone, when we're talking about tens of millions,
yes,
is like just not going to happen realistically.
I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I think it's I think it's a tough challenge, and it's going to cause disruption.
I guess I wonder though why you even want all of them removed. I mean, surely you would acknowledge that there is at least a...
How about this? You cut off all funding. You give them nothing from the government, and you take away the right to work. Like, now they just can't work in America to make any money. Why would they want to stay here at that point? Go to England. They could take over England much easier. Take that $1,000 and instead of going home, go to England. They'll let you in.
The portion of the illegal immigrant population who their presence is beneficial to America. No.
Sometimes one of my
Well,
favorite things about being on shows with you is you discovering in real time how evil some of the people are on the other side here. But sorry.
Well, no, it's a serious
look,
question.
I'm sorry. What's my evil here? I'm an American citizen. We made a law. We passed a bill. It went through Congress. President signed it. Don't we get to enforce it?
I don't know.
mean,
it depends on who it comes down to. Apparently, when it comes down to people that break into the Capitol, for instance, no, we don't get to enforce it. Trump pardoned them.
Well,
when it came to Tina Peters, who was breaking into and making
wait a minute, hold on. They did enforce it.
Don't talk over each other.
They did enforce it. They did enforce it, and I think improperly in many, many cases. And then the guy who was elected with the power of a pardon by the people of the United States decided to do that. So the legal system was followed.
So back to my question, Kurt. My question is...
Just wait real quick. Just so you believe those people were fairly convicted?
No.
So then,
no, I don't believe any of them were fairly convicted.
Or what do you mean? What do you mean when you say the legal system was followed?
I believe it was
unfair?
I believe it was absolutely unfair. But what do I know? I was only an attorney for 30 years. I believe it was in a biased venue. I believe there were biased judges. I believe.
I'm sorry, hold on. What is the appropriate venue? Well, you're a lawyer. Tell me, what is the appropriate venue for crimes committed in D.C.?
When you can't get a fair jury, somewhere other than D.C.
So you would take a crime that happened in D.C. where the jurisdiction and venue are appropriate. You would declare the entire District of Columbia cannot provide a good jury. What state do you go to for a fair jury at that point?
Yeah, well, let's see: Virginia, Maryland, West Virginia, Pennsylvania.
And what indication do you have that you have an unfair jury in any of the trials? And all of them? All of the juries were unfair for every conviction?
Absolutely.
Okay.
What's your basis for knowing that or saying that?
MAGA, because he's MAGA. That's it.
Or my interaction with the guys who were actually trying cases there and did the voir dire and looked at the panels. And my own and what I've seen of judges allowing jurors on who would have been kicked in any of the cases I tried. They absolutely have been kicked off the jury, but not in Washington, D.C. Not in D.C. Judges. If we want to go down that road, we can.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do another conversation about that because Kurt does have a hard out. I guess to my final question, though, closing out here a little bit, I do think Democrats are making a mistake when they leap to abolish ICE as rhetoric.
At this point, no, actually, I was a person who was heavily critical of that language because I do think that
abolish immigration. So just let them all stay. That's what they're basically saying. You break into our country, we just let you stay. We keep the borders open, let you come in, let as many Mexicans vote in our elections as you want, and things will be great. No, they're saying that because they know they'll vote for their side, right? How about this? None coming. And we just have people in America do our votes. How about that?
Immigration enforcement is important, but I don't think ICE can survive. One is the reputational harms. And then two is this concept of when it comes to this immigration stuff, like these Article 2 judges, I think that whole system is very, very, very strange. But I mean,
Article 3. Are you talking about the Article 2, the immigration judges?
The immigration.
Okay, all right, that's Article 2.
Yeah,
it's a strange system, but that's not ICE. And all I'm saying is, Stephen, there's two camps of abolish ICE people. One just wants another department to do immigration enforcement, which to me is not really meaningfully abolishing ICE. It's just renaming it or moving it around. There's another camp, the DSA camp, that literally doesn't want to deport anyone, including murderers and
number
rapists.
One hater on the internet, so I absolutely am aware of this.
Well, I know that you're going to oppose that, but what I'm telling you is I do suspect that abolish ICE will be interpreted politically as similar to defund the police, and it will come across as if candidates are saying they don't want to deport dangerous people, and people like Kurt, I'll let you have a say here, it will run with it, and
I will beat them around the head with it all day and all night because that's what they do believe. They want the illegal aliens here. They don't want them gone. And in fact, they're, I mean, for God's sake, pardoning a pedophile in Minnesota so he's not deported.
Yeah, that was
crazy talk. That's crazy. Can't we agree? We don't need illegal alien pedophiles here.
I would agree.
We don't need foreigners to do jobs American perverts won't do, okay? Thanks. No thanks.
Israeli perverts.
Okay, Stephen, final word to you here, and then we got to wrap because Kurt does have a hard out, but I appreciate both of you in the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I don't think conservatives have any limiting principles on anything going on in the current administration. I think as soon as the Democrats steps back in, we're going to see all this rule of law stuff come back, and we're going to hear about all of the limitations that the executive should be following. But I mean, for this particular case, I mean, it's a crazy set of facts. You said earlier that the case looks best right when it comes across your desk. I mean, you said you're a lawyer for 30 years. How many clients do you trust? If a client comes up to you and he's explaining your case,
I don't trust anybody.
Sure, client comes up to you, client is explaining his case, and the case already sounds bad just from their description. When ICE put out that tweet, and in their own tweet, they're basically just admitting to vehicular homicide with no statement about a car being used as a weapon, no statement about.
You notice Destiny is trying to justify him having already drawn all his conclusions just based off of a tweet, basically. Like just a narrative that's this long and you've got it all decided, right? How about we wait till more evidence comes out before we say these stupid things?
About an officer's life being under threat, no statement about ongoing felony or anything. They just said, we saw a guy, there was some immigration enforcement. He might have tried to drive away. We shot and killed him. That in and of itself is already indefensible. And that was their side of the story. So I can't imagine how bad the actual facts are.
All right.